base of his neck showed it had broken in 3 places, which Baden told 60 Minutes is unheard of in a suicidal hanging.
These people will be exploited to bring the whole world order onto its knees, with whomever controls this technology will be at the top of this order.
Holy
Thank you very much.
Shit, dude.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name's Brandon, and welcome to another episode of Real Sensitive Guy Hours. This is episode 19, but this is a special episode. Will, take it away.
So tonight we are going to be talking about conspiracy theories. And so the main thing that we're going to be doing tonight is talking about, like I just said, conspiracy theories. We are going to be giving our own opinions, or we did research before we this tonight about conspiracy theories that many people probably haven't heard of. And Brandon is going to talk about the rules of this whole little competition that we're having with each other.
So
and
we each,
for the enjoyment of you.
We each have one topic in between us. What is going to happen is I recently blew up on TikTok. Shout out TikTok. What I'm going to do is edit everybody's conspiracy theory explanation, and I'm going to upload it to TikTok. So you, the viewers, are going to be the ones that determine whether or not somebody wins. The person with the most likes on the video is going to take a dub on the audience side. Also, there's going to be a point system that goes with who is voted the best out of all of the hosts between the hosts. So we're all going to vote together and decide who is the best. Whoever wins gets bragging rights. We don't have anything. We're broke as shit.
We love bragging rights. We love those.
Isn't it? Is views and likes correct?
It's going to be likes. I think likes is more of like an interactive thing. So if you like the video, you're directly voting for that person's conspiracy.
True.
Fair enough. I like it.
You can vote for all 4 if you want.
I know I've said a lot of controversial things, and I'm probably going to say even more tonight, but vote for me, all right?
Wow. All right, starting off already. I don't like this candidate. I don't like him.
Well, Travis is the one that wanted to start us all off, so I guess, Travis, hit us with your best shot.
I did
We
request
got the
this.
fucking
I am nervous as fuck.
All right.
I am nervous.
Let me know
as
when you
fuck.
start sharing your screen. Just let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm only going to need to share it for like a short portion of the presentation. So,
Oh yeah, I might do mine for like 2 minutes also.
So basically, my conspiracy theory is the whole elite pedophile sex ring. Jeffrey Epstein is tied into it. It's basically the whole scope of that. The elite of America and the world are secretly running an underground minor ring of sex slaves that they abuse. And here is my proof. I looked up a few articles today. I started with a woman who was actually abducted. Not really abducted, actually. It was more of a setup with her parents. It's really weird. But basically, on Friday nights and the weekends, she would be sold off to pedophile sex ring to be used as a prostitute. And this started at the age of 6.
Oh,
Holy shit.
So yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to read I got a couple excerpts from this article and a couple quotes from her.
I like that
So
idea.
Here's the first part of the article. After being sold into an aristocratic pedophilia ring at the age of 6, she witnessed young girls and boys being raped, tortured, and murdered, and was due to be killed herself before she was saved by one of her abusers who made a deal with a politician who ran the child abuse ring. So this ring includes basically anybody with money: singers, actors, politicians, anyone in the so-called ruling class, the elite. So got a couple quotes from her here as well that I pulled from the article. Here's one. I wouldn't have dared to speak out. I was threatened in a way that I didn't feel like there was a way out. And then from the article, at the age of 11, having spent 5.5 years inside the twisted aristocratic sex ring, it was decided she was, quote unquote, of no use anymore and was to be killed. And then here comes another quote from her. I was strapped to a butcher's block that was black with all the blood of the children that had come before me. One man was forcing 5 young children to harm me. It was part of their indoctrination.
Wow.
The torture lasted for a few hours. A burning cigarette was put out on my forearm. My body is full of scars, and every scar reminds me of that moment. So this is direct from she's a grown-up woman now, but many years ago, she was basically sold off by her parents into this sex ring. And she did this on the weekends and lived like a normal person, went to school, did all the normal shit. Her parents were totally on board with it. Her mom was a total fucking psychopath and like eventually started literally bringing her to these people every weekend, like dropping her off.
Holy shit.
Because they were getting paid, her parents.
Wow.
So, and this was actually, I'm pretty positive this was the girl that, if anybody knows about this, the reporter who got like a ton of flack in the media because she was super like nonchalant about the fact that the girl was put in a pedophile ring, but she was like super mad that her big story went down the drain. If you guys remember this was probably a few months ago, like late 2019-ish.
Yeah.
And then next up we have basically the setup for this one is it's a guy who poses as certain, like he puts on a role basically to try to infiltrate places like the dark web, criminal organizations, whatever. He tries to expose people basically. So he's posing as a guy named Gio, an Italian elite, and he goes to a hotel and attempts to basically buy a minor for the night. So a couple excerpts from this one. Yeah. The concierge, this is a concierge at a hotel, and a hotel for affluent people. I'm not going to like name any names, obviously, but the concierge offers to put Gio in touch with a lawyer who can help, quote unquote, silence the boy. He's asking for a boy for the night at this point. Baron Cohen asks for his help securing a date for the night. He says, "What do you mean a date?" This is the concierge. He says, "What do you mean a date?" I go, like a young man. He says, "Well, what kind of age?" I say, as in the Geo, the guy who's posing as the rich guy, I say lower than Bart Mitzvah, but older than 8. And he says, "Yeah, I can put you in touch with somebody who can get you some boys like that."
What the fuck?
So this guy who exposes people, the guy who was posing as Geo, actually submits this to the FBI. He has this footage on camera of a hotel concierge saying this to him. He submits this to the FBI, and crazily, the FBI decided against pursuing his tip, even though he had on-camera evidence.
Exactly.
That's tough, though.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to talk about Podesta, Tony Podesta. Arrested for pedophilia, alleged pedophilia. It never, whatever. But this is the Google presentation I'm about to share is some of the art that was found in Mr. Podesta's house.
Art, you say?
When the police raided it.
You say art?
Yeah, art, like hanging on his walls.
Who is this man?
Painting.
Pictures. Like
so it's like paintings.
Art.
Okay.
Yeah, paintings. Okay. Tony Podesta, just basically a person kind of like Paris Hilton who's rich by relation.
Okay.
So John Podesta, his relative, was one of the heads on the Clinton campaign, Hillary Clinton.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So Tony Podesta's related, and Tony Podesta was indicted on pedophilia charges. And let's see, when the police raided his house, some of the art that they found in there. This is just a couple examples. Honestly, this was the least disturbing of what I found. I didn't want to go too crazy on here, but this is the kind of stuff that he has displayed in his house. Like, what the fuck, man?
That's like what?
Give you
guys kind of crazy.
A couple more seconds there.
What was his excuse for having that?
I mean, he has no excuse at that point. Like, he's already been arrested for pedophilia. So, like, it's kind of almost no surprise that they found this in his house. But, like, still so fucked up,
So they arrested him and then raided his house.
They arrested and then raided his house to look for evidence. And, like, this is the kind of stuff they find, in addition to, obviously, literal videos on his computers of children being raped and tortured. But, I'm obviously not going to put that on the screen.
Right.
And this is the same kind of stuff they found with Epstein as well. And obviously why he was arrested and put in jail. So everybody, obviously, this is one of the craziest things. It's like conspiracy theorists are usually considered just insane, edge of society kind of people, you know?
I agree.
But I think the Epstein didn't kill himself thing, like it became a meme, obviously, but I think because of that, it became like a really mainstream thing. Like this was a conspiracy theory that a lot of people were believing. And then it's kind of just like it disappeared because, you know, whatever happened. Donald Trump said some stupid shit and then the coronavirus happened. And it's like people just forgot about it. But the fact that that came up at all, the fact that Epstein didn't kill himself, I'm not going to say the fact. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not going to say the fact, but the theory that Epstein didn't kill himself is very real and has a lot of evidence against it. I took a couple excerpts from an article outlining an episode of Dr. Oz where he brought on basically a professional autopsy person and went over Jeffrey Epstein's autopsy. So I'm just going to read a couple excerpts here in the article. The burst capillaries and the fact that Epstein's lower extremities were pale and not purple or bluish, which he said would have been the case had he hanged himself. So the body is showing no signs of the usual reactions when someone hangs himself. Another excerpt. The autopsy photo of the 66-year-old Jeffrey Epstein's hyoid bone at the base of his neck showed it had broken in 3 places, which Baden told 60 Minutes is unheard of in a suicidal hanging. This is all obviously suggesting manual strangulation, as in someone killed him in his cell. And yes, you can say blah, blah, blah. There's a video of his attempted suicide, whatever. But you cannot deny the fact that the jail mysteriously lost video of his cell in the time that he attempted suicide and actually succeeded, aka died. There was no video of that. There has never been any video of that. There is video of his earlier attempted suicide like a week or 2 prior to his death, but there is no video of him actually committing suicide. Now, why would they be videoing him all the time when he attempted it, but have suddenly stopped videoing him when he actually killed himself?
Dang, that's true.
And that's basically all from me.
Damn, hold on. Round of applause, boys.
That was actually
Round
pretty
of fucking
good.
applause.
You kept that like short and sweet. I like it. That was good.
You kept me captivated. That's probably not the word, but you know, and then those disturbing images really sold it. And not only that, like this is a really fucked up thing that I think definitely is being pushed under the rug because powerful people can't be touched.
Exactly. So. Not even to mention that Bill Clinton took 26 flights on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet in 2 years before he was arrested. And Tony Podesta is related to John Podesta, who was the lead on Hillary Clinton's campaign. It's like, that's what a conspiracy is, I know. But it's like too many coincidences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too many fucking coincidences.
They don't, this doesn't add up. Where's the calculator?
Mm-hmm. It's like they're all connected, man.
That's the thing that before the show, me and Oliver were talking about conspiracy theories, is that it's not a portion of trying to convince people. What conspiracy theories do for me in this sense is they don't really make me try to weigh in on what was believable and not believable. It's the fact that, I haven't been able, like, I'm not one of those people that thinks this way, but certain people do that could connect these dots in this kind of way. And it
then
opens
once
your
you
mind.
See the dots connected, you're like,
Exactly.
Oh, damn, this might actually be a thing.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that I love about conspiracy theories.
So I did a random number generator. I'm already feeling the one beer I've had. You can tell that I've been very sober for the past while. I did a random number generator. And it looks like, based off of random chance, Oliver is up next. I am third, and we're saving the best for last. William.
I kind of figured I was next.
Sorry, the numbers randomly generated it.
You're good. I kind of figured I was.
Let me know if you're gonna post something.
I will. I'll let you know when.
Okay.
So I am doing the Saddam Hussein Stargate. So Stargate, sorry. So Stargate is basically it's a bridge to a portal to like a different universe, different intergalactical dimension. So basically,
If you watch Rick and Morty, you understand.
I'm basically talking about what happened in the Iraq War in 2003. Saddam Hussein became the president of, or whatever they call it in Iraq, in 1979. So he'd been around for a while at this point. So basically, I'm going to go back way before then, though. So in the year 3000 BC, Sumerians who lived in Mesopotamia, which is now modern day Iraq, they worshipped deities, and they believed that those deities gave them stargates to produce their civilization to be more advanced, be more technological savvy than every other civilization around them. And that's why they were able to build, better tools, better everything else in their civilization during this time period on 3000 BC. So in 2003, I don't know why this year all of a sudden started up a bunch of things, but in the Iraq War, Bush didn't really want to get involved at first. He didn't know a lot about the Middle East. It was 2 or 3 years or so after 9/11. And as soon as 9/11 happened, he was like, give me everything you have on Saddam Hussein. If he's involved, I want to know. So they figured with terrorism and Al-Qaeda and where Iraq was, that Saddam Hussein had to be involved. Mm-hmm. So they figured, why not enrage Saddam Hussein? Because they also figured that they had WMD, which is weapons of mass destruction. So they had speculation that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and that they could have like nuclear power, way more advanced than anyone in the area. And it caused a lot of speculation, and Bush felt he had to go to war. So that all happened in the beginning of 2003. A lot of other countries didn't want to get involved at first, but other ones did, like Australia, Poland, different countries as well that got involved. Now, there is believed that in Stargate, that since it was around that same area where Samaria was in Iraq, that there was a couple different ones. They say one is in Baghdad. They also said that Saddam Hussein had access to one in his basement or his palace, that he was about to reveal some incriminating information to the public. He was ready to say something to the public. No one knew what it was. Bush felt that he was going to say something about the Illuminati. They thought like maybe he was part of the Illuminati. He was about to say something that they didn't want him to say. So that's why some people felt that Bush wanted to go to war, because he was about to say something that he shouldn't have.
He would expose it, right?
Yeah, he would expose top secret information, something about the future, something that wasn't supposed to come out yet. So that's basically what happened with the Stargate at that point. A lot of speculation, a lot of different stuff like that going on at the time.
That totally makes sense, man, because everybody says, not to connect another popular conspiracy, but people say Bush did 9/11 because he wanted to push people into the Iraq war for oil. But that also, okay, a man wouldn't do all that for oil, but that provides a backup reason. Like, he didn't want Hussein to unveil the Stargate.
Let me find this quote real quick. I have a quote from someone, I forget what article it was, but I have a quote that basically says, I think that a big part of the reason why Bush administration went to war in Iraq is to stop Hussein from revealing information they could control over themselves. So basically, he's saying that Saddam Hussein had known about this Stargate in his basement for years, had done different things with it, tested out or whatever it was, and he was about to reveal incriminating information to the public. And Bush didn't want that to get out. So therefore, that's part of the reason, as some people say, that he went to war in 2003 in Iraq. Also, due to the building tension with the 9/11, with terrorism, the terrorism border in Al-Qaeda, and all that information. That's pretty much what I got. I got pretty much that for you guys. Sorry, it wasn't super long.
Dude. No, I believed you before, but I hard believe you now.
Sorry, it wasn't like 10 minutes like everybody else. I had a lot of thoughts that were all running together.
Like everybody else, there's only been one other person that's gone.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's really interesting because I never thought of the everybody knows that Bush did 9/11, and
I mean, duh.
Well, I also think too that I read a couple articles about, now that you say that, I read a couple articles that were saying that because they were connected to Al Qaeda, so even if people said that Bush was connected to 9/11, this gave him like a put off. He could be like, well, Iraq did it because they're with terrorism, they're with Al Qaeda. So it gave him like almost an out.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's also
stop that
like, oh, we
conspiracy.
have to stop Saddam Hussein. He's such a monster. Like, not denying the guy was fucked up, but like that just does give Bill another
I also
excuse,
have
you
one
know?
more thing too. So when the beginning of sorry that you guys are saying this, I'm adding more stuff.
I
In
meant Bush.
03, when the countries first started going to Iraq, because like I listed off, it was like Australia, Polish had some couple people, and US. Some countries found that it wasn't valid, that they could just go and attack Iraq off speculation that they were building weapons of mass destruction. So I think it was the US, I'm not entirely positive, maybe other soldiers, they found aviation bombs and different things like that around the area of one of Iraq's airports. And Iraq had claimed that it hadn't been used since 1991. It was abandoned, and some nations felt like that wasn't good enough to go to war.
Damn. Okay, so I have a question for you, Oliver. I have a question for you then. So do you think now that the US has like taken over Saddam's palace? And because like I mentioned earlier, this was off podcast, but my girlfriend's stepdad actually occupied the palace. Do you think the palace is now used by America? The Stargate is used by America.
Oh,
Do you think they have control over it? Do you
That's
think
really
it's still
tough.
there? Do you think they destroyed it? What do you think?
So I will start out by saying this. In the articles I did read, that they said there was 3 Stargates around the world. And based on some articles I read, there's one in Baghdad, and I guess in this palace where Saddam Hussein was. It's hard to tell because I feel like how would they even get those things to start at this point in time? The reason why Samaria used them is because they could go back and forth because they worship deities that they could, advance their civilization. So even if the U.S. did somehow, make these work or however, then it would be pretty tough. I'll put Brandyn.
I feel like the government has a lot of secret technology they hide from us. A Stargate would not at all be out of the realm of possibilities.
Brandyn, let me put my picture up real quick, and that way you guys have an idea of what a portal or Saddam Hussein has a picture of.
I'm ready for you.
It says my stream is closed.
You get that up?
Maybe I'm just retarded.
Whoa, our word.
I hit close on it. My bad. Maybe it does. That's not a big deal.
Question for you, Oliver. While you
Yes,
get this
sir.
up, so you said there are 3
They said
potential
3, yeah.
Stargates around the world.
Mhm.
One is in Baghdad. Where are
Yeah.
the other 2, according to the articles that you read?
They said it's like I'm not entirely sure where Saddam Hussein's palace was. If that's the one nearest to Baghdad, that's probably the one. But they said they had
Probably
no
the one nearest to
idea
Baghdad.
based on what articles I read and based on after like the ancientness of Samaria and what they had done, what they had used it for. So it's tough. I mean, you could look it up and see. There's probably not information on where they are, where they're from, where they're located.
If you could take a guess as to where the other 2 are, where would you think they would be?
I imagine one's probably, probably Asia somewhere, and probably Europe. Maybe.
Got to be close by.
That's what I'm thinking. I think there's
Got to be able to access your Stargate.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, well, the big thing about that too is you can travel from one place to the next very quickly. So if it was like a civilization first starting out, if you needed to go across, let's just say a town, whatever, you could get supplies really quickly, so you could build more technology quicker.
Maybe the Stargate in his palace went to the Stargate in Europe and the Stargate where the fuck ever else. Like, you don't want to fucking take a plane.
What happens if you bring a
Dangerous.
Stargate into a Stargate? Because then you have a portal inside of a portal.
So-
Wouldn't they teleport each other, or would it
That's
one
like-
just?
That's
That's
so
like
black
what would
hole.
happen if a black hole sucked up another black hole.
Black
like,
hole.
What the
I
fuck
was
would
about to
happen?
say.
So that's like what
No one knows.
What I thought was kind of strange too is that it just that's why like people tie these conspiracies together, like how they made this a conspiracy. Because 3000 BC, you had Samaria who worshipped deities, and they had a stargate. Just so happened to be thousands of or whatever years later, it happened to be in the same area where Iraq is today, and they went to a war, and people thought Saddam Hussein's hiding information from the public, and he said he was about to announce something, and they didn't know what it was. And Bush was like, "We can't let this happen."
Yeah, why did he want so bad to suppress what he was announcing?
Right. Exactly.
Like, what could be more
that's why-
provocative than the usual terrorist shit?
That's
he
what it
was
comes
doing?
back to when I said the Illuminati thing in the very beginning, because if either one of them is part of the Illuminati, which some people believe that exists, some people don't, then why would they want that information to come out if it wasn't supposed to come out yet?
Yeah, let me tell you this. This is what conspiracy theorist deniers would say. Oh, he was going to announce that he had a nuke, and America wanted to silence him because he didn't want to scare people, and then they took the nuke for themselves. Like, fuck no, baby. He had a Stargate.
I think the biggest part of that too is Bush got it off his back about 9/11. He could say he was linked to terrorism, Al Qaeda, and the terrorism border. That's what I think helped Bush in that time, was he could
And
put it
that's
off
why
his
Bush
back.
did 9/11.
That basically, like I said, it
I'm
gave him an
saying it.
out. It gave him an out.
You know,
All
I
right,
can't.
well,
I
we
can't
have-
put an end to this crazy talk because it's the name of the game.
Because it's literally
Yeah,
this episode, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
I closed my stream somehow, Brandon, so I can't put the picture up. You're good though. Nuisance.
Oliver,
really
you
had
had a
to
great
piss.
one. But I think it is we had good arguments and questions between Travis and Oliver, but I think it's now time for the baddest in the biz to go at it. So Brandon, you said it's your turn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the audience, throughout human history, there has been a culture of hybridization, which is mixing the genetics of humans and animals. I think one of the biggest things that you guys can think about is Indian culture, for example. A lot of their gods have mixtures between humans and animals, so much so that they worship them. They have magical powers due to the fact that they are a hybrid. There are many other stories of humans and animals mingling. No, we're not talking about Rainforest, the failed furry convention of 2015.
We're talking about Vampire Diaries.
If a failed furry convention is a surprise to you, then you might be a furry. I'm talking about the ancient stories like the mythical centaur in Greek mythology. There have also been many famous hybrid human beings. Anubis, the god of death in the Egyptian culture, depicted as a man with a dog head. Throughout human history, we have been fascinated with the interminglings of humans and animals. And I truly believe that this is due to our conflict with nature. We sit there and we pretend that we could be as good and as reflexive as a cat, see in the night like a cat, regenerate our body parts like a lizard, fly like a bird. We wish that we could just conquer nature and all of the obstacles that it puts on us, but we can't do it because we are not animals. And thus we are fascinated with this idea of hybridization. So if we can't fight this terrible force, why not be enhanced by it? Why can't we be them too? Today, there have also been many movies and pop culture references that have highlighted this fascination. There are too many animated movies that feature animals that behave in human-like fashion. Pixar, Disney, and many other mainstream films producing companies created movies based off of this theme, some of which explore the animal improving upon the human's narrative through physical assistance. Think Ratatouille, for example. That rat literally controlled the human to make him better. He became the Chad of his universe due to the fact that an animal was controlling everything around him. However, this is not just fiction. This is not just a false reality that we're living. These aren't just stories of humans trying to explain why that we're living things, why that we can't fight the force of nature. No, this is a real life thing. Hybridization is a modern issue that we need to pay attention to. Human and animal hybridization doesn't just exist in your favorite Japanese hentai or furry fantasy. This is real and they exist.
Respect.
Credible sources like MIT have reported that this is a real thing. With all things in life, if it exists, it can be exploited. It can be exploited for the benefit of from the entities with the highest amount of dollars. So let's look at the evidence. How do we know that this exists? China, for example, has already done a few things with this. Japan has created human pig humanoids at the very small cellular level, but China has been most successful at it. Let me dive into this. So, what is the first step in human animal exploitation? How do you exploit a chimera, which is the name for this mixture? Well,
what is it? Human pig?
I'll get into this. I'll get into this.
Or just human anything.
China, what they have done is created human monkey hybrids. They're doing this for the purpose of human organ harvesting farms.
Sperm?
They are making people come together with monkeys for the purpose of harvesting their organs. While some good can come of this, because if you think about it, many of, for example, livers, hearts, brains need to be transplanted, but people will get stuck on a list and eventually die. However, exploiting this is going to be too easy for them. Why would they give their number one competition any organs? Why can't they be the main monopolizers of this farming of human organs? What they're going to do is completely exploit the system, continue to create fetuses that are human and monkey-like just for this main purpose of harvesting their organs. And these people, these organisms aren't going to have any rights. How can you exploit something that's not human?
Technically a human. Yeah, not technically.
You can do whatever you want, even though it may have the same mind. It could feel pain. You can torture it like it's just another animal, just like how people have done so for generations. This is completely unexplored territory. Human, animal, hybrids have zero rights, and they will be exploited as such. And this is not going to happen in the United States. It's only going to happen in countries that have loopholes that will allow this to happen. China will be at the forefront of this and eventually take over the world because they own this technology. In the United States, this is deemed illegal and it's very much taboo. But China's already created monkey-human hybrids with the goal of harvesting organs on a massive scale. Essentially, they'll just take the DNA from a living human and put monkey DNA inside of it. That's the simple explanation. So this loophole is created. So the second step is creating the perfect hybrid. Why stop at just harvesting organs to improve humans? Why not just start at the molecular level and create something you can control that's better than a human? Once this technology develops, China's hunger to be the number one superpower will cause their government to do the inevitable. They will create controllable, perfect human-animal hybrids. These human-animal mixtures will have the logic and reason of a human being, the strength of a wild monkey, the sight of a cat, and regenerative ability of reptiles. Not only will they be able to use these perfect humans as soldiers, but as slaves for their industry and forever bettering infrastructure. China will become the number one country in the world. Human-animal hybrids are a new phenomenon. It sounds like a science fiction novel because it quite literally comes from the mind of madmen. The goal of improving humanity is the smokescreen for the tears of evil that will be done if this technology remains unchecked. Saving human lives? Yeah, fucking right. When has that ever been the goal in this world? These people will be exploited to bring the whole world order onto its knees with whomever controls this technology will be at the top of this order.
Holy
Thank you very much.
Shit, dude. Fuck! Imagine like a human rhinoceros hybrid.
So I know they do like crossbreeds with like
That would be like
horses
Rhino
and
from Spider-Man,
donkeys
but
and-
better.
and insects and shit, but like seeing like a human with something that would look so fucking deformed.
It's
Still,
fucked.
though,
And you think
they'd be
about
so fucking powerful.
They do
like
that with spiders, don't they?
hybrid,
Don't they like
human
crossbreed already
lion
with insects?
hybrid.
think about what even like so we think about the strengths and the amazingness of what could be. Like we mix different types of corn and we make better corn. Like we're gonna make better humans, but like what is it going to take to make this happen? Like think about all of the baby fetuses that are going to be thrown away, or the people that are going to be tortured because of this.
So you're basically saying like a female monkey gets injected with a human male sperm.
It starts at the molecular level. So they'll take an embryo
dude,
and
this is
inject
all
the
lab
DNA.
done.
They have this process called CRISPR. And if you think about it like a zipper, they essentially zip off one part of the DNA and replace it with another. They don't feel anything at this point. So what they'll do is with that other side of the DNA, they will implant it with another animal's DNA and just see if it works.
So you're saying that China has already started this, correct?
No, China is already doing this on a mass scale, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Yeah, they're more than started. They completed.
But like,
they're
okay,
just
so
gonna
like
go
if
further
you're the
with it.
human, do you have to like volunteer for that? Are you getting reimbursed money? Like, how are they doing it with dead people? Like, what's?
Who the fuck cares? China can do whatever they want. They have like full brainwashed.
I guess that's
control
true.
over
They
their
are
people.
kind of a dictatorship at this point. They can kind of say, "Do it, or we're killing you." So
They are doing this with people's cells. They will take somebody's embryo and they will make it into a new life form. It's completely alien. It's not human. It's alien. We have aliens on this earth right now.
I agree.
I believe you. I believe
I like
all
it.
of you.
I don't know.
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
All right, Will, are you ready to jumpstart the final
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
intro? Now introducing
All right.
William Montgomery, introducing our last topic of the night.
That's so much fuck shit with the world, man. Like I introduced like, oh my god, the world has a pedophile sex cult. And then Brandon's like, well, guess what? The fucking world is combining humans with animals.
And there's
All right.
portals that travel across space.
Well,
Oh yeah,
Now
and
we're
also
gonna
we have a
get-
fucking portal to other dimensions. Fucking
Well.
Rick and Morty.
I want to start off my topic with asking everybody a general question.
Okay.
Just a simple question. Have you guys ever noticed that from the week of April 15th to May 1st, tragedies occur so much more than any other time during the year? And the conspiracy about this
That's tough.
falls back to, and I have proof that it does.
Okay. I'm glad.
And this is where the conspiracy starts, is that during this whole time, this is a plot by the government, world government, any government at all, because this happens all over the world, by those governments to use this time as a giant sacrifice to a biblical false god that was brought up during the Bible.
Dude, you're talking about the quarantine time, right? That's what they're using.
No, I'm talking about all tragedies that have happened on Earth. So, to start off,
He's
we're
got
going to go into my screen share, and I'm going to go and show you guys who this man is, or this deity is.
Oh, I see it.
So, this deity is known as Baal. And if anyone has ever read the Bible, then you remember when Moses went up on the mountain and came back down with the Ten Commandments.
Very
vividly. And became angered at the people, the Jews that he had brought down the Ten Commandments for, were worshiping a false god. More notably, a golden bull statue. Well, this wasn't just a fake thing that was just brought up in the Bible. No, this was an actual real thing. This false god was known as Baal. And in the quote up here, it even says during Psalm 106, passages 34 to 43, they served their idols and were ensnared by them. They sacrificed to demons their own sons and daughters, shedding innocent blood, the blood of their own sons and daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan, desecrating the land with bloodshed. They defiled themselves by their actions, became adulterers by their conduct. And this all comes into the conspiracy that the world government uses these tragedies between the week of April 15th to May 1st to use it during what is called Baal's Blood Month. And this time period is that month. And they use these tragedies to self-sacrifice our own people to this Jewish god from thousands of years ago. And many people are going to start to think, well, what do you mean by tragedies? Well, by tragedies, I mean massacres. I mean massacres, terrorist attacks, pandemics.
Hell yeah, they're staged.
Assassinations. More and even more like along the lines, people who caused all this. So if we want to go back in time to all of this when it comes up, one of the first things that I want to talk about is some older ones that fall during this timeline. Now remember, this timeline is the week of April 15th to May 1st. So, April 20th, 1889, Adolf Hitler is born. This man massacred millions of people, the entire Jewish community that worshipped this god beforehand. April 15th, April 15th, 1912, the Titanic sunk, killing more than 1,500 people. April 18th, 1906, the San Francisco earthquake happened in the U.S., killing between 700 and 3,000 people.
Wasn't that one of the biggest?
That was one of the biggest ones that has happened. April 15th, 1865, one of the world's greatest men was assassinated, Abraham Lincoln. So then...
He got some good ones.
So these are some ones that happened prior to the 20th century. But this stuff does take place during the 20th century. More notably, if we want to go from the beginning, April 19th, 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing killed more than 168 people during this time. It gets worse. April 20th, 1999. Does anyone know what happened that day? I'm going to assume no.
99? I was 2 years old, man. I'm not sure.
For such a chill day, so much happens on 420.
April 20th, 1999. The Columbine shooting massacre happens, killing more than 15 people.
Injuring was that?
Columbine.
Okay.
Going ahead further, April 16th, 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting, killing which caused the death of over 33 people.
Oh my God, I remember that.
And then finally, the most recent one that I'm pretty sure all of us know, April 15th, 2013, the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, yes, it did kill only 3 people, but it injured more than 300 people.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
So
that was scary.
all of these events are seen by conspiracy theorists and by me as well, that this month, this time period, the government causes tragedies in their own as a form of self-sacrifice to pay homage and sacrifice and use that bloodshed as an ode to Baal, the Jewish god deity, aka known as the false god from Jewish lore.
Marina Abramovich, you're not going to talk about fucking... I don't even know what else I was going to say. Never mind.
Dude, we had some slamming topics tonight.
What about other things? Like, what about like 9/11? Like, so like there are other bad things that happen like that are not within this time period.
Right.
Oh yeah, obviously bad things, but those are just natural bad things, man. You got. Oh, I remember the other thing: crisis actors.
Crisis actors.
One
big thing.
You ever notice the same person was in the interview about Sandy Hook? Was the same person in the interview about Columbine? Was the same person in the interview about fucking whatever?
Right. And another one of the incidents that did happen that I forgot to put in my thing was the siege of Waco, where the person was having his own little cult.
Ride.
That happened. It was the Waco massacre. Though it did not start in April, the main siege and the infiltration of the camp happened on April 19th, 1993, killing
AKA
more than
when all the
over.
police deaths happened too.
Exactly.
AKA April is a bad month for everything.
Not
Dude,
just
April
April, but
sucked.
that last portion of April to May 1st is seen as that, and it's crazy along that
April
lines.
fucking sucks, man. April
That
showers
last
must
part
be showers.
of April.
So, Will, for you as in your research, so based on your conspiracy theory research, so conspiracy theorists all think from that time period, all these things were contributed to that factor. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the conspiracy theory is telling. It's telling that the government, world government, and a lot of these, yes, did happen in the United States, but there are countless others that I didn't involve in my examples. But if you look
the
into
Satanist cult expands through the entire world.
if you look into,
it's not just going to be the elites of America.
if you look into world tragedies that happened between the week of April 15th to May 1st, I'm sure there's countless that happen across the world. And the conspiracy is that these governments use these tragedies or create these tragedies, that they're the cause of these tragedies, so that way they can use this human bloodshed as sacrifice to Baal during this month, so that way nothing else bad happens throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So, like, even like people that don't believe in this so-called deity or God, you're still thinking it's like people are still saying it's a sacrifice to him, even though it's not pertaining to him at all.
Correct.
One thing that I've always been very interested in with those conspiracy theories is how it's like, for example, like the Illuminati or the Freemasons, or like, for example, like worshiping Baal. How do you get everybody on board with this? Like, there's not one guy who shows up to that convention. He's like, you know, the fucking island where it's raining and the sea is going crazy, but you're in this big ass castle party with all of the world's elites, and he's like, "So fucking Baal, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, bro, like this shit's crazy." Like, how do you get people on board with that shit?
We're all
Sacrifice
like
these
fucking
motherfuckers.
kids, right?
So I think
Like, that's crazy to me.
The thing
like,
about it is
that-
that it's not what I think it is it's not the governments themselves, but it ties in more with the world elites who have power over the governments.
No, exactly.
So
that is the bottom line, dude. If you have money and if you have power, you can do fucking whatever you want. No
So
matter how
you have
fucked
money
up your
and
brain
power,
is,
why do you
can make
fuck
your
kids?
wild and fucked up fantasies
Like,
come true.
What is your, like, what is the deal with kids? Like, why go for kids? Just in general.
easy.
Well, I think if
Because,
you're,
you fuck so many like adults that it's become tedious. I don't know.
I think that like
Because
if
you
you're
have
asking like for kids and like,
Are you saying
and
these people
Will-
in power Travis want a little
and
challenge
Will's
in their life?
presentation in terms of like
or like it's just like
massacres is because like kids hit harder. If you ask any parent, like, and they say like what the loss is compared to like losing their parent or like their son or daughter, they're gonna say their son or daughter because they've seen them grow. They've seen them like grow up, and then like when they die at a certain age, it just hits home harder.
Well, it's
And
the
I
same
think
as how
where
people become nymphomaniacs. It's like you love sex so much, you have sex with so many people. All of a sudden, like vanilla sex is boring, so you go to like some weird sex, and then you have enough weird sex, so you go to even weirder sex, and eventually it's like you've exhausted all your options, and that's what it is. These rich ass people have had sex with so many people just because of their money. They're like, "Oh, I'm bored of regular sex. I need to do something crazy."
I think
And I
where
have
mine,
enough money to do something crazy.
I think where mine originates from is that first series where Baal comes into play because Moses comes down from the mountain with the 10 Commandments. And what if people have read the Bible and stuff like that? What happens after or prior to this event? I can't remember for sure. I haven't read the Bible in a while. But the 10 plagues that take over Egypt. That
Go to hell, Will.
I would assume that happened during like that time period between April 15th and May 1st. So
All
don't
right.
kill me now.
So now that we are
April's
all,
such a fucked month. Holy shit.
now that we are all done our conspiracy topics, what gave you guys your inspiration? What makes you want to do this topic?
I
think
wanted
did
to be
mine because
able.
it's so recent.
I wanted to be able.
Everybody
to,
at once, guys.
I
Yeah,
wanted to be
exactly.
able
I mean,
to.
you asked.
I wanted to be able.
Brandon, go ahead.
No, sorry. We're all a little schmacked right
Fucking
now.
drunk.
Yeah, we've had a few
fucked.
drinks.
Brandon?
No, it's like I wanted to be able to. This is something that Alex Jones was ranting and going crazy about for so many months, that there was this hybridization going on. But the way that he talks about it makes him sound crazy, because his tactic is to sit there and spew a bunch of fucking information at you so much that you can't even understand what the fuck he's saying. So you just have to absorb everything all at once.
Fucking frog's gay.
Like, he throws so much fucking facts at you that you don't know how to even react to it. And I think a lot of people associate him as being crazy. That's one of the reasons. Also, he's said a lot of fucked up shit, but like, that's one of the reasons why people think he's crazy. If you say something with confidence and in a way that makes sense to people, I bet you that my narrative can get to more people than Alex Jones. If
Literally
I can
why Trump got elected, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just about your reach, baby.
How you say it.
Trav, what made you pick yours?
Like I said, it's because it's the most recent, man. I want to fucking open people's eyes to the current shit that's happening in America. Like, shit is fucked. The 1% literally fucking control all of us, and most of us are just okay with it. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty okay with it. Like, I'm not hating my life, but like, man, you gotta wonder once in a while, like, yeah, capitalism's cool and all, but it does give certain people a lot of power. The people with all the money.
Well,
so my inspiration stemmed from I was watching a video on like big conspiracy theories that like many people might not know about, and it brought up this, and it started talking about it. So I was like, I'll get into that. And then I read into it that Baal was a bull deity and all that. And I was thinking like, I remember like as a kid, like going to church and hearing about like the whole story about Moses coming down from the mountain with the 10 Commandments, and the people that he had brought into the desert or with him were worshiping a gold bull deity. And so I did some more research, found out that Baal was that deity that they were worshiping, aka a false deity according to Roman Catholics. And it just like spewed more and more on that. And then reading in the little video, it mentioned like a couple of those examples that I did, but I wanted to find like more examples, because those ones you could all link into like, oh, they're just tragedies, and that it could have been a coincidence that they all happened in that same time frame. But
that's
like as you go,
conspiracies get to
as I went backwards in time more and more with like the San Francisco earthquake, the sinking of the Titanic, Lincoln's assassination, Hitler's birth. There's more and more as you go back, this date keeps reappearing, and it becomes less of a coincidence and more of like a
what the fuck?
Yeah, literally, it becomes less of a coincidence and more of like a, oh my god, this is actually fucking true.
That's kind of what I said too. Like when you were giving your conspiracy theory, and you had all these examples like around the same day, I was like, okay, maybe this is not a coincidence. You're listing off like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 in a row.
That's literally what I said, man. It's like people dismiss it as a conspiracy, but it's too many fucking coincidences. Okay,
but like the thing with the conspiracy too is like people are gonna take like outlandish things and pull them together. Like for instance, Lincoln was killed in a Ford theater. JFK was killed in a Ford. Like stuff like that was 100 years apart, but people are gonna pull that together.
Yeah, okay, but you just put one of those examples. You should look at the whole list of similarities between JFK and Lincoln.
I know there's more.
Too many coincidences.
I know there's more. I think for me, since I asked the question, I'll answer my own question. I think for me, the biggest thing was I had like looked up a bunch of stuff about like Illuminati or like New World Order. So kind of finding Stargate in that sense too was kind of like tailored to that a little bit, because Bush thought that maybe not just Bush. I think it was a commentary that said like maybe if like Saddam Hussein was a part of the Illuminati. He's going to share some like enlightening information. So that pertains to the Illuminati, New World Order, like leaking information that may not want to become out yet. So it gave me some more insight to like maybe this is actually something more relevant than what I thought it was.
Exactly. It ties into what I was saying earlier. It's like if you have enough money, if you have enough power, if you have enough influence, you can basically like legitimately do whatever you want. And what you want might be super fucked up, but you can do it because you've got the resources.
And this is why I love conspiracy theories. Not because of the fact that, like, oh, they might be true or oh, they might not be. But when you look at them as a person that's non-biased or from an unbiased standpoint, it doesn't make you lean towards what's right and what's wrong, but it opens your mind to like all these like dots connecting that you didn't think of in the first place. But it takes a different kind of mind to think about these kinds of topics, whether it be, are the Knights Templar still around? Is the Illuminati real? Is the New World Order real? Is Stargate actually a thing? Is hybridization, the one that Brandon said, is that real? Is the Ball Blood Month massacre, is that a real thing? Is this minor sex trafficking ring? Is this all like reality? And all these things
that it is.
When you think about it from the first point, and that's the thing that drives many people away from conspiracy theories, is like when you first hear of this topic, you think of it as outlandish, unorganized, unrealistic.
Yeah, exactly.
All that.
The reason why
void of
conspiracy
reason.
theorists are like considered the edge of society is because they're dismissed so quickly, because it's like, oh no, that's so crazy it can't be true. But have you ever heard of so crazy it might just be true?
And then when you read more into it, you actually start seeing how these people are connecting these dots, and it actually opens your mind to the possibility that this stuff might be true.
That's true. I think all in all, we all did. I think all in all, we all had good topics, presented them very well.
Hopefully Brandon doesn't get mad at us like he does before every episode.
If he thinks any of us suck, then we're screwed, man. We're kicked off the show.
So the person that's in last place is actually getting kicked off the show. So
you guys all did a lot better than I did. So the congratulations.
I think everybody did.
We're always so humble.
Everybody had A+ effort in my eyes.
I just want to
like the entertainment.
I just want to share. I'm gonna humble brag real quick. The TikTok that recently blew up was about the narrative that so many people on Modern Warfare are using porn star names as their account names.
What's the
at this point, it's at 320,000 and over like 30,000 likes right now. It blows my mind. Like that's insane that that many people have like seen me talk. That's insane. Anyway, so I'm seeing in the gaming community now, people are talking about this shit now. Like it's always been like a hush hush weird thing. Now everybody's talking about it. It's weird.
You were brave. You were actually brave for pointing it out. It's like, oh my God. Like simultaneously, this guy plays so much Modern Warfare and watches so much porn that he's made this connection. So now
I've always thought it was like this cringy thing that people did. But like
exactly. But everyone who does that now is coming out of the woodwork because they were inspired by you.
Yes. It's like in the comments, people are like, my name's Lana Rhodes. My name's Mia Khalifa. I got Johnny Sins. Like this fucking trading cards or some shit. It's pretty geeky. All right. We're about at that time, boys.
Well, I think we started at 7:10 too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I got to cut some stuff out.
How's about fucking perfection?
Yeah, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. We do this every Wednesday and upload it on Thursdays. Real Sensitive Guy Hours, episode 19. My name's Brandon.
I'm Oliver.
I'm Travis.
Well,
this was episode 19 of Real Sensitive Guy Hours. You guys have a great night.
Peace.